see you.
Thanks for coming back on the channel. I think you are my favorite guest to have on the channel. People love you.
This is my favorite channel of all time. Where do you think I learned wholesaling? Where do you think I learned flipping? Where do you think I learned raising money? This is the greatest channel ever.
Man, thank you for taking time. Guys, we're gonna do something really special. We're gonna create an entire series on creative financing. And I think we're gonna make probably, I don't know, 10, 12 videos in this series. I think when we put this all together as a playlist, it's gonna be everything and anything you could ever want to know about creative financing.
And there's no better time than right now for you to know this, not just now, but for the next probably 48 months. These strategies will dominate. They will change your life. If you're a real estate agent, if you're a flipper, if you're a wholesaler, these things will double, triple, or quadruple your income just by knowing these strategies. And so Jerry had a great idea of doing a playlist starting from A, going all the way through Z. And whatever question you guys have in the comments, please make a comment down below. Like, I don't understand this. I need more information on this. Because the next time Jerry and I hang out, we're going to do another set of videos based on your questions.
Love that. And Pace, you're so right. You know, creative is always a good strategy no matter what's going on. But you just mentioned right now, as of this recording, for the next couple years, because we're going to be seeing high interest rates, and interest rates are going to greatly affect people's ability to get capital for deals. Which means if you can take over existing financing, if you can leverage that already into deals, it's going to be game changer. I mean, it's really going to make a big difference. So that's why this is so relevant right now.
I told somebody an analogy the other day. I said, if you go to play golf against Tiger Woods, he's going to beat you no matter what, right? We got that. But showing up in a real estate transaction is like showing up to play Tiger Woods and you only have a putter, right? Like, you need all the clubs in your bag in order to compete with anybody. And so these strategies, it's not that we're teaching you a completely different game, it's that we're adding new tools to an existing game, right? So people go, man, I want to focus on wholesaling. I want to focus on this. Guys, creative finance will amplify your game. It will give you all the clubs you need in your bag to go play a complete round of golf, essentially, in real estate, and give you a fighting chance. We both buy a lot of deals where other people couldn't make them work. Wholesalers go, hey, Jerry, I got a deal I don't know what to do with. It has no equity. Okay, well, I look at that deal and I go, I want it. Jerry looks at that deal and goes, I want it. You just got to know how to utilize those clubs in the bag. So this series is going to show you all of those clubs and in the proper order.
And let's start from there, because I think most of the people that watch the channel, Pace, as you know, are wholesalers. A lot of people working on their first deal. And one of the basic things we learn is make an all cash offer. And so when you make an all cash offer, that cash that's going to come in and take down that deal, whether it's your cash or a cash buyer's cash, new capital for a deal, there is a cost to that money. And that cost of that money is very expensive, because that money could be doing something else for somebody. So to bring new capital into a deal means you need the biggest discount on the property. How is that different? First of all, kind of big picture, how is that different when you leverage any of these creative financing strategies?
So what's great about creative finance is that people go, man, you're such a wizard. You're so amazing. You're this, that, and the other. Guys, I can tell you one thing before we jump into this and answer that question. Out of everybody I know that talks about creative finance as a main strategy of theirs, Jerry, you know more about creative finance than guys that have been teaching creative finance for 30, 40 years, right? Like, you do very creative strategies. So I'm so excited about this whole entire series. Very, very pumped. Hope you guys are excited too. So with capital, if I go into an appointment, okay, when I was just doing wholesale like 7, 8 years ago, I would go into an appointment knowing house is worth $200,000 after it's all the way fixed up. That means I got to pay $110,000 to $130,000 depending on the condition of the property. So I got to get the seller all the way down there. And based on the convenience maybe I give them, or the speed, or them avoiding going through a real estate agent, that is worth it to that seller. But more often than not, I was running into sellers saying, dude, are you kidding me? You're going to give me 50 cents on the dollar, 60 cents on the dollar of what my house could be worth? No, thank you. I'm just going to fix it up myself.
In fact, I think it's maybe like 5% actually fall into that camp where they're willing to take that huge discount, and that cash is just, they'll trade all that equity for the convenience of cash.
Right. And this is where people come to me and they go, I think wholesale is where I should start. I go, well, first off, you can wholesale creative finance deals, and we'll get to that. But second off, I think creative finance is actually way easier than wholesale. And the number one reason why is because we can pay way more money without actually coming out of pocket, or without even borrowing money from a hard money lender or a private money lender. And the reason being is because the seller already has the debt secured and finance and approve in their name. So in order for me to deep dive them down to 50 cents on the dollar, I got to undercut everything they owe on that mortgage. Guys, I can pay 80 cents, 90 cents, sometimes 100 cents on the dollar, win that appointment. Whereas when you're a wholesaler, all you're doing is going in and going, I got to lowball this person 50, 60 cents. Which one do you think is easier? Lowballing 50, 60 cents on the dollar, or coming up to where the seller either owes or giving the seller the number they need, as long as they give you creative finance terms, which we'll talk about in a minute.
I've heard you say it does not make sense to take out existing debt with new debt, meaning bring in new capital to take out already existing capital that's in place on that property.
One of my most viral YouTube shorts was a seller call I had. And I had a seller go, wait, so you're not gonna pay off my loan? And I go, nope, I'm not gonna pay off your loan. And she says, why wouldn't you pay off my loan? And I said, why would I pay off your loan? Because I have to go get a loan over here, a fresh brand new loan that just started over, to pay off this loan that you've already had in place. The only people that make any money in that transaction are two different banks and a bunch of loan officers, and escrow officers make all the money. You don't make the money and I don't make the money. So why don't we just work out a deal directly where I can take over the existing debt and make you win and me win? Last thing about creative finance is that, again, I think it's the only strategy that is a strategy where both parties completely win. In wholesale, I'm a wholesaler too, so I'm not knocking wholesale. I'm just saying creative finance gives you additional tools. The seller wins by getting a higher price. In wholesale, the seller wins by getting convenience. And so there is a place for both of those, but I find that there's more opportunities in my world because I have a different set of glasses that I'm wearing. I see more creative finance opportunities than I do see wholesale.
And keep in mind, we're going to be covering this quite a bit, but keep in mind, it's not so much wholesaling, it's not so much the cash offer when it comes to wholesaling, because you can also wholesale these creative finance deals. In fact, when you structure a creative finance deal with a seller, and let's say that you don't want to keep that deal, it's not the right time for you, you want to wholesale it, and that's awesome, make some cash, wholesale it. When you take that creative finance deal to another investor who does see a use, maybe they want to hold it and rent it or whatever they want to do with it, they will pay a premium for that deal, because you've created an opportunity where they don't have to come up with a lot of cash to get into the deal.
The biggest assignment fee I've ever paid in my life was on a creative finance deal. It was a $210,000 assignment fee. I paid as the buyer, and I gave that to a wholesaler who'd never done a creative finance deal in his life. And he's like, are you kidding me? The biggest wholesale check I ever got was 15 grand. You just paid me $210,000. Here's the deal. The deal was a seller, 30 units in Texas, apartment complex. Seller was ready to retire. His name's Mario. And Mario says, I want my number. I don't care what you guys offer me. I want my number. I've owned this property for 20 years. I'm not budging at all. So the wholesaler goes, he's motivated. He wants to sell. He wants to retire. He doesn't want to have tenants anymore. But I don't know what to do. This guy, I got to offer him $1.7 million in order to wholesale this. Yeah. And I go, let me talk to the seller. And if I can get the seller to sell that $3 million to me and let me make payments to him with no money down, then I'll buy it for $3 million, which is his asking price. And I'll pay you, what I told him, I said, I'll pay you a percentage. I'll take my cash flow and I'll multiply it by 10, and that'll be your assignment fee. My cash flow on that property is $21,000 a month. And so I offered him 10 times my cash flow. I'll pay you an assignment fee up front. And so we worked out the deal. The seller gave me $3 million, no money down, 4% interest, and 50 years to pay the payment. Yeah. 50 years with no balloon payment. And some of you guys don't know what a balloon is, but we're going to go into a lot of this stuff in the series coming up. So there's been some terminology, some little examples we've gone through really quickly, but this series is going to be fun because we'll take a little bit more time, give these strategies a little bit more breath. Where do I find them? Where are they coming from? How do I handle the paperwork? Where do I go to get help? Those types of things. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. So to end this video, maybe let's just list off 7 or 8 of the main strategies that we're going to cover in this series. We'll then deep dive. So watch for these next videos to come out, because we're going to really go into each one and full circle it. We're going to talk about ways to acquire that type of a strategy, when it fits, how to structure it, how to know what to pay for it, what your disposed strategies could be, all of it. But first, the very next video, we're going to actually go into these instruments, some of this terminology, because you cannot really do well with creative financing if you don't understand how the instrument